Welcome back to College Hill Farm. Well, I'm out here by the corn. This is the corn that we planted about a month ago. It's a month growing. I'll get down here and show you some things yet. But it's time to plant our second batch of corn. And we'll get at that in just a minute. But I want to show you, I don't hoe corn anymore. About 8 years ago, I started gardening in these wide rows. I'd never done this before. I'm 62, so 8 years ago I would have been 54. And it was getting really hard on my back to use my hand-powered rear-tine rotary tiller. And what I had always done was, back when I was a kid, you had to plant your corn 4 rows apart, or else it didn't pollinate well. Well, that was one of the times that my grandmother always said, plant it 4 rows apart, 30 inches, and you got to have at least 4 rows, or else it won't make. Well, I've found that this super sweet varieties, I can plant 2 rows close together, and they make just fine, without a lot of skips and stuff in the kernels. So, I plant mine 2 rows apart, about a foot apart, a foot to 16 inches, okay? I don't measure it, I just walk down through there with my planter and do that. And then in the center I plant pole beans. In this crop I've got white greasy beans, which is a white pole bean. We've been growing in my family ever since I can remember, okay? So we've been planting them forever. So I got down through here and I took the tractor and I plowed beside them close. Alright, I've got my tractor set up so I can plow as close as the tires can get to the side of the corn. And then I don't hoe. I haven't hoed corn in about 8 years. Let me show you down the road. Okay, here's a weed. This weed right here is called amaranth or pigweed. It's the bane of my existence. I have tons of it here on the property. But as we go down through here, let's look at the corn. I plow close. Alright? So normally the pigweed would be taller than my corn if I just planted it. But where I plow close, then here in the center between the corn, and we've got some corn skips right there. Looks like I might have had some help. But anyway, down through here, as you look down through this corn, do you see pigweed? Absolutely not. The beans shade out the pigweed. So the beans will climb up the corn stalks. Up the corn stalks. I know you see the beans wrapping around the corn right here. That's what it'll do. It doesn't ride the corn down. It all grows together. They love each other. The Native Americans called it the sisters method. I just don't plant pumpkins in it anymore because it keeps me from plowing, close tilling beside it. But this corn's about a month old, so it's time for me to plant my next set of corn, and I'll tell you why. Now, with super sweet corn, Candy is the variety that I plant. It costs about $18 a pound. To plant 4 rows of candy corn, which for me is about 600 stalks of corn, 600 ears of corn, because candy corn makes a second ear, but it's generally not big enough to fool with. I leave it for the raccoons or whatever comes by to eat it. I know you say I probably shouldn't do that, but you got to be a good steward of your land. So I don't mind to share with the raccoons. When you get too many raccoons, they want it all. They don't share, so you have to thin them. But other than that, I try and help the wildlife here because the wildlife become food on my table. If I take a raccoon out of the garden, he goes in the pot, okay? raccoon makes one of the best beef stews you ever ate. Tastes like stringy beef. Somebody commented, why in the world would you want deer on your property? You ever ate a deer? I go months at a time with buying no beef because we're eating deer. Anything you make with beef, you can make with deer. It's delicious. Anyhow, I plant candy corn, and in between it, I plant beans. Now over there was white half runner, or white greasy beans. Now I'll be planting speckled greasy beans. This is 2020 seed, so I'll have to, this is 2025, it's 5 years old. So most of it will come up, probably about 90%, 80-90%. But after this year, it'll start degrading. So I'll plant it this year, I'll save seed back, and then I'll plant it again next year and save seed back, and then it'll just be seed. It'll just be beans. So the good thing about this super sweet corn is that it all comes in at once. When I was a kid, we planted Golden Cross Bantam. You would have to go through the field and squeeze, and over the course of about a month, it would all get ready. But this super sweet corn, within a week, it's all ready. They all come in at once. So I like to plant them staggered. If I plant 2 rows down in that part of the field a month ago, and I plant these this month, now in 3 months, 90 days is what it takes, in 3 months I get to harvest corn again. So I'll harvest corn. I planted that at the end of May, June, July, August, the very 1st of August. This is the end of June. I think it's June the 24th. So then I'll be out here in July, August, September. In September I'll harvest these other 2 rows. Okay, does that make sense? Working up 300 ears of corn at one time is going to be tough for me. Crystal's not able to do it this year, so I'll have to be doing it by myself, which, you know, that's fine. That's the way things work out. We're doing the best we can. Now, how am I going to plant it? I'm going to plant it just like I always plant corn. With my Earthway planter. Right now, it has the bean plate in it. So I'll make that where it can't move. Rotate that forward. And I can take the bean plate out. I'll be using the bean plate, so I'll just leave it standing there. Now, you put in the corn plate. Let me get over here where you can kind of see. That goes in. Yeah. Get in there. Oh, I was doing it backwards. Okay, it goes in like that. Then you rotate it backwards or forwards. You rotate it forwards. And it's caught in there, so now it's ready to put corn in it. Put about a ½ pound in the hopper. Okay, now let's get down the field. This is the greatest time saver I ever bought. If this one tears up, I'll buy another one. This has been awesome. $100. I've been using it about 15 years, and it's still $100. Okay, 120. I think it's gone up a little bit. It's a Earthway 1001B. It's been an awesome little planter. Okay, here's my little garden. Right there's the sunflowers. On the other side of them's the okra. Right here is the tomatoes. And I'm going to do some other stuff today. I brought a hoe out with me. I don't hoe corn anymore, but I still brought a hoe out with me. So what I want to do to make this wide rows, right there, my tiller comes to there, so I need to scoot over and go to right there. That's where I'm going to plant the corn, because that just makes it easier to tend. So let's get down the row and plant a little corn. That and that is how long it takes to plant 200 feet of super sweet corn. There's how much corn's left, and that's corn for next year. Okay. Somebody asked me one time, why do you keep the plates from your Earthway planter in a bowl? Okay? Why do you keep them in a bowl? I keep them in a bowl because of this. I cannot take the stuff out of this Earthway planter, the corn or whatever seed it is. I can't get it out and pour it back into the bag, because I've tried using the bag and putting it here, and it's a pain in the butt. Pour it in this bowl, and that seed is expensive, $18 a pound, so I don't want to lose none of it. So now this bowl has a little lip right here. See it? Now I can take the bag, flay it open, and easily pour my corn seed back in it without losing any. Now it's time to change plates. So to do that, you just rotate the plate forward and it comes loose. Did I rotate it forward enough? Yeah. Sometimes they're hard to get out. Sometimes they're just simple as can be. There it is, out. Now, the way the Earthway planter works is, this was for corn, so the wheel rotates 3 feet down the row, and this turns one time. So 3 feet is 36 inches, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, 7 times 5 is 35. So it's just a little more than 7 inches a piece does it drop the corn seed down that row. Now I'm going to use the bean plate to plant the beans. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It has 10. Well, 36 divided by 10 is 3.6, or about 3.5, 3.5, about 3.5 inches. Every 3.5 inches, this is going to drop one bean seed. Now, I saw some corn seeds were still in here, so I don't want to lose any of them. Yeah, there were 5 in there because they were in the planter holes. That's 5 ears of corn next year. Because now is about the last I can plant of corn. I put in this plate. And if you're wondering why I turn it this way and put it on my hip, because this wheel can't turn while you're trying to tighten the plate down. Okay? The wheel can't turn, this wheel, because if it turns, if I try and tighten the plate down, the wheel will just do this and turn, and the plate won't tighten down. So, alright, that's got it. Now add the beans. There they are. This year and next year is about the last for this bean seed, so I'll have to save seed this year, because next year I might plant it and it might not come up. So let's get down in the field. I'll plant this right in between the 2 rows of corn. Okay, that's how fast it is to plant a 100-foot row of beans. What did it take me? A total of 3 minutes. What time is it? It is 6:52. So, before 7 o'clock this morning, I loaded up my truck. I came down in the field and I planted 200 foot of beans and 200 feet, or 100 feet, 100 feet of beans and 200 feet of corn. Alright? That'll be a lot of food for us this winter. Corn doesn't go as far as you think. This 400 feet of corn won't put on nearly the calories that potatoes will. Okay? Not nearly the calories that potatoes will. But I don't spray it. I do use fertilizer. I've got to go down through here and put fertilizer. I'm not going to put that on video. I'm just going to go down through there and put some fertilizer down. I need to fertilize my sweet potatoes too this morning. So I'll put the fertilizer on my sweet potatoes and on the corn, and that's food for us for a year. Alright, that's the sweet potatoes give us generally a 100-foot row, gives us somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 bushels, 180 pounds of sweet potatoes. Last year it only gave us 40 pounds because we had a drought. It turned off dry. Well, this has been the wettest spring I've ever seen, so I'm hoping we'll have plenty of sweet potatoes. And then our regular potatoes gives us about between 200 and 400 pounds of potatoes. So, yeah, we'll have all kinds of potatoes and sweet potatoes. But the truth is, only about a third of our calories come out of our garden. Okay, it takes a lot to get the calories out of your garden to keep you going for an entire year. Now, if you like this stuff, this homesteading, do-it-yourself kind of thing, be certain to come on out to the channel and subscribe. We do this homesteading stuff every week, sometimes 1, sometimes 5 videos. Just depends on what's going on in the homestead that week. Now, if you hit the little bell, it'll be right up here. It'll notify you when we upload a video. We upload on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, with the occasional short on Friday and Saturday and through the week. Now, time for me to get on to the next thing. I love you all.